Welcome to Rauta. This video is done in commercial collaboration with our sponsor, Steelfest.
Hello, and welcome to Rauta. This time it's all about the Polish black metal team. And this band is, mind you, a little bit misleading. So here you have on Metal Archives this band called In Twilight Embrace. I mean, it really sounds like a doom metal band, maybe with a romantic touch. No, My Dying Bride and the like. But the thing here is, this band has totally evolved throughout the years, and it's pretty different than you might expect. Quick look at Metal Archives actually explains this. And before you get into like, Jerry? Hold on. It says, melodic death metal slash metalcore early. That sounds really something that I don't want to even touch, the metalcore part. I'm just a little bit of allergic to that. Mind you, I personally, however, got into this band way later. Now, this band being 20 years old, I mean, it's kind of bound to expect that they have changed, at least some ways, their styles. So for me, it was actually only a few years ago when they released Lava, the, I guess, fifth album by so far. Can't really remember if I have previously listened to the band or heard it. So once again, can't really compare this last work by these guys to something that they have previously done. But be this in May, this album, Lifeblood from 2022, is black metal. And this is an interesting case because I guess a lot of people, at least me here, I'm saying that a lot of Polish bands have somewhat of, how to say, kind of a feeling that is very Polish. Whether we are talking about some of the raw end of black metal bands, you know, like early Graveland or the kind of a 1990s pagan metal thing coming from Poland, including but not limited to Graveland and Behemoth, or just later era bands. A lot of them kind of sound Polish, if you know what I mean. And that is not a bad thing. It's more like saying sometimes you just instantaneously kind of figure out which band is Polish and which is not. But in Twilight's Embrace, or at least Lifeblood, kind of dodges this particular bullet because, to me, to be honest, it doesn't really sound like a Polish one. However, there are similarities to some of them, and I guess it would be just easier to say, yeah, I'm pointing towards directions such as Mqua, maybe also to bands like Blaze of Perdition and the like. But that's about it. Mostly Lifeblood sounds something that would be considered as modern black metal. There's very little reminiscent of the 1990s kind of a stuff, which would be also considered old school nowadays, second wave or not. Lifeblood is more like tapping to more modern ways and including melodies which are kind of catchy. So when some people would be name dropping bands like Destroyer 666 for guitar leads or melodic parts or Necrophobic from Sweden, I guess that's pretty much nailing it. So it has definitely the kind of a Polish DNA in the system, but also tapping to other bands and having bands from various countries when you could just, you know, kind of describe it, kind of points out it's rather vague when it comes to any given style from any given country and all that stuff. Now, to some people this might be a little bit weird, like, don't do that kind of a fucking fly, go away. Like I said, that could be a little bit of a too much for some people. Some people just like focused, simplistic approach to whatever kind of a metal we're talking about, while some of us really like the diversity and variation when it comes to songwriting, and when it's hard to put just like a copycat button down and saying like, okay, this sounds exactly like that, and that's it. Sometimes that's kind of boring.
But Lifeblood, once again, even though I'm name-dropping some of these names to give you a little bit of insight what's happening here, it doesn't really sound like any of those, at least in the purest form of sense of like what Copycat is all about. What matters most, however, is that songwriting is actually good. And that is topped with good production and good vocals. There's some effect to the vocals, not too much, so mind you, this is having a very, very nice balance. The same applies to the production. I mean, it sounds kind of a powerful and clear and all that stuff, but not in the way it's like overproduced like some big ass label bands, which tends to be so often quite horrible. I mean, not horrible like sounding weak or pathetic, but more like soulless, lacking the human touch, if you will. I'm not even gonna mention the word organic because that can mean so many different things to a lot of people. All I'm saying is basically Lifeblood is a good album. It totally got me by the surprise because I was expecting something, I don't know, mediocre or just kind of a decent but not there yet kind of album. Why so? Maybe because of my previous encounters, and I cannot deny In Twilight's Embrace is not exactly a bad name, but it gives me this wrong kind of, chills from the 90s. Like, okay, once again, this gothic band with the female vocals, the mandatory violin parts, and, some weeping lyrics and trying so badly sound like some budget version of My Dying Bride. So I'm happy to be wrong here with my expectations and all that stuff. So here we have a good album, and I strongly urge you to give it a shot. Not everybody's cup of tea, given, but those who can actually understand and like something different than your typical Nordic black metal might actually like this. So what are you waiting for? Start listening. See ya. Bye bye.